Hello, everyone. It is so exciting to be here. My name is Bumie, and I will be reading for you Numbers 30 through 32. Numbers 30. Here we go. Then Moses spoke to the heads of the tribes of the sons of Israel, saying, This is the word which the Lord has commanded. If a man makes a vow to the Lord, or takes an oath to bind himself with a binding obligation, he shall not violate his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. Also, if a woman makes a vow to the Lord and binds herself by an obligation in her father's house in her youth, and her father hears her vow and her obligation by which she has bound herself, and her father says nothing to her, then all her vows shall stand, and every obligation by which she has bound herself shall stand. Wow. But if her father should forbid her on the day he hears of it, none of her vows or her obligations which she has bound herself shall stand, and the Lord will forgive her because her father had forbidden her. However, if she would marry while under her vows, or the rash statement of her lips by which she has bound herself, and her husband hears of it and says nothing to her on the day he hears it, then her vows shall stand, and her obligations by which she has bound herself shall stand. But if on the day her husband hears of it, he forbids her, then he shall annul her vow which she is under, and the rash statement of her lips by which she has bound herself, and the Lord will forgive her. But the vow of a widow or of a divorced woman, everything by which she has bound herself, shall stand against her. However, if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound herself by an obligation with an oath, and her husband heard it, but said nothing to her, and did not forbid her, then all her vows shall stand, and every obligation by which she bound herself shall stand. But if her husband indeed annuls them on the day he hears them, then whatever proceeds out of her lips concerning her vows or concerning the obligation of herself shall not stand. Her husband has annulled them, and the Lord will forgive her. Every vow and every binding oath to humble herself, her husband may confirm it, or her husband may annul it. But if her husband indeed says nothing to her from day to day, then he confirms all her vows or all her obligations which are on her. He has confirmed them, because he said nothing to her on the day he heard them. But if he indeed annuls them after he has heard them, then he shall bear her guilt. These are the statutes which the Lord commanded Moses, as between a man and his wife, and as between a father and his daughter, while she is in her youth in her father's house. Numbers 31. Here we go. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Take full vengeance for the sons of Israel on the Midianites. Afterward you will be gathered to your people. Moses spoke to the people, saying, Arm men from among you for the war, that they may go against Midian to execute the Lord's vengeance on Midian. 1,000 from each tribe of all the tribes of Israel you shall send to the war. So there were furnished from the thousands of Israel 1,000 from each tribe, 12,000 armed for war. Moses sent them 1,000 from each tribe to the war, and Phinehas the son of Eleazar the priest to the war with them, and the holy vessels and the trumpets for the alarm in his hand. So they made war against Midian, just as the Lord had commanded Moses, and they killed every male. They killed the kings of Midian along with the rest of their slain, Avi and Rechem, and Zur and Hur, and Reba. The 5 kings of Midian, they also killed Balaam the son of Beor, with the sword. The sons of Israel captured the women of Midian and their little ones, and all their cattle, and all their flocks, and all their goods they plundered. Then they burned all their cities where they lived, and all their camps with fire. They took all the spoil and all the prey, both of man and of beast. They brought the captives and the prey and the spoil of Moses and to Eleazar the priest and to the congregation of the sons of Israel to the camp at the plains of Moab, which are by the Jordan opposite Jericho. Moses and Eleazar the priest and all the leaders of the congregation went out to meet them outside the camp. Moses was angry with the officers of the army, the captains of thousands and the captains of hundreds who had come from service in the war. And Moses said to them, "Have you spared all the women? Behold, these caused the sons of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor. So the plague was among the congregation of the Lord. Now therefore kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman who has known man intimately. But all the girls who have not known man intimately, spare for yourselves. And you camp outside the camp 7 days. Whoever has killed any person, and whoever has touched any slain, purify yourselves, you and your captives, on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. You shall purify for yourselves every garment and every article of leather and all the works of goat's hair and all the articles of wood." Then Eleazar the priest said to the men of war who had gone to battle, "This is the statute of the law which the Lord has commanded Moses. Only the gold and the silver, the bronze, the iron, the tin, and the lead, everything that can stand the fire, you shall pass through the fire, and it shall be clean. But it shall be purified with water for impurity. But whatever cannot stand the fire, you shall pass through the water. And you shall wash your clothes on the 7th day, and be clean, and afterward you may enter the camp." Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "You and Eleazar the priest and the heads of the fathers' households of the congregation, take account of the booty that was captured, both of man and of animal, and divide the booty between the warriors who went out to battle and all the congregation. Levy a tax for the Lord from the men of war who went out to battle, 1 in 500 of the persons, and of the cattle, and of the donkeys, and of the sheep. Take it from their half and give it to Eleazar the priest as an offering to the Lord. From the sons of Israel's half, you shall take 1 drawn out of every 50 of the persons, of the cattle, of the donkeys, and of the sheep, from all the animals, and give them to the Levites, who keep charge of the tabernacle of the Lord." Moses and Eleazar the priest did just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Now the booty had remained from the spoil which the men of war had plundered was 675,000 sheep, and 72,000 cattle, and 61,000 donkeys. And of human beings, of the women who had not known man intimately, all the persons were 32,000. The portion of those who went out to war was as follows. The number of sheep was 337,500. And the Lord's levy of the sheep was 675. And the cattle were 36,000, from which the Lord's levy was 72. And the donkeys were 30,500, from which the Lord's levy was 61. And the human beings were 16,000, from whom the Lord's levy was 32 persons. Moses gave the levy which was the Lord's offering to Eleazar the priest, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. As for the sons of Israel's half, which Moses separated from the men who had gone to war, now the congregation's half was 337,500 sheep, and 36,000 cattle, and 30,500 donkeys, and the human beings were 16,000. And from the sons of Israel's half, Moses took one drawn out of every 50, both of man and of animals, and gave them to the Levites, who kept charge of the tabernacle of the Lord, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then the officers were over the thousands of the army, the captains of thousands, and the captains of hundreds approached Moses. And they said to Moses, "Your servants have taken a census of men of war who are in our charge, and no man of us is missing. So we have brought as an offering to the Lord what each man found: articles of gold, armlets and bracelets, signet rings, earrings, and necklaces, to make atonement for ourselves before the Lord." Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold from them, all kinds of wrought articles, all the gold of the offering which they offered up to the Lord from the captains of thousands and the captains of hundreds was 16,750 shekels. The men of war had taken booty, every man for himself. So Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold from the captains of thousands and of hundreds and brought it to the tent of meeting as a memorial for the sons of Israel before the Lord. Numbers 32. Now the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad had an exceedingly large number of livestock. So when they saw the land of Jazer and the land of Gilead, that it was indeed a place suitable for livestock, the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben came and spoke to Moses and to Eleazar the priest and to the leaders of the congregation, saying, Ataroth, Dibon, Jazer, Nimrah, Heshbon, Elilah, Sebam, Nebo, and Beon, the Lord which the Lord conquered, the land which the Lord conquered before the congregation of Israel, is a land for livestock, and your servants have livestock. They said, if we have found favor in your sight, let this land be given to your servants as a possession. Do not take us across the Jordan. But Moses said to the sons of Gad and to the sons of Reuben, shall your brothers go to war while you yourselves sit here? Now why are you discouraging the sons of Israel from crossing over into the land which the Lord has given them? This is what your fathers did when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. For when they went up to the valley of Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the sons of Israel, so that they did not go into the land which the Lord had given them. So the Lord's anger burned in that day, and he swore, saying, none of the men who came up from Egypt, from 20 years old and upward, shall see the land which I swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, for they did not fully follow me, except Caleb the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, and Joshua the son of Nun, for they have followed the Lord fully. Good job, Caleb. So the Lord's anger burned against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years, until the entire generation of those who had done evil in the sight of the Lord was destroyed. Now behold, you have risen up in your father's place a brood of sinful men, to add still more to the burning anger of the Lord against Israel. For if you run away from following him, he will once more abandon them in the wilderness, and you will destroy all these people. Then they came near to him and said, we will build here sheepfolds for our livestock and cities for our little ones, but we ourselves will be armed ready to go before the sons of Israel until we have brought them to their place, while our little ones live in the fortified cities because of the inhabitants of the land. We will not return to our homes until every one of the sons of Israel has possessed their inheritance. For we will not have an inheritance with them on the other side of the Jordan and beyond, because our inheritance has fallen to us on this side of the Jordan toward the east. So Moses said to them, if you will do this, if you will arm yourselves before the Lord for war, and all of you armed men crossed over the Jordan before the Lord until he has driven his enemies out from before him, and the land is subdued before the Lord, then afterward you shall return and be free of obligation toward the Lord and toward Israel. And this land shall be yours for a possession before the Lord. But if you will not do so, behold, you have sinned against the Lord, and be sure your sin will find you out. Build yourself cities for your little ones, and sheepfolds for your sheep, and do what you have promised. The sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben spoke to Moses, saying, your servants will do just as my Lord commands. Our little ones, our wives, our livestock, and all our cattle shall remain there in the cities of Gilead. While your servants, everyone who is armed for war, will cross over in the presence of the Lord to battle, just as my Lord says. So Moses gave command and concerning them to Eleazar the priest, and to Joshua the son of Nun, and to the heads of the fathers' households of the tribes of the sons of Israel. Moses said to them, if the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben, everyone who is armed for battle, will cross with you over the Jordan in the presence of the Lord, and the land is subdued before you, then you shall give them the land of Gilead for a possession. But if they will not cross over with you armed, they shall have their possessions among you in the land of Canaan. The sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben answered, saying, as the Lord has said to your servants, so we will do. We ourselves will cross over armed in the presence of the Lord into the land of Canaan, and the possession of our inheritance shall remain with us across the Jordan. So Moses gave to them the sons of Gad, and to the sons of Reuben, and to the half tribe of Joseph's son Manasseh, the king of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and the kingdom of Og, the king of Bashan, the land with its cities with their territories, the cities of the surrounding land. The sons of Gad built Dibon and Ataroth and Aurora and Atroth Shophan and Jazer and Jogibah and Beth Nimrah and Beth Haran as fortified cities, and sheepfolds for sheep. The sons of Reuben built Heshbon and Elilah and Kirithaim and Nebo and Baalmeon, their names being changed, and Sibmah, and they gave other names to the cities which they built. The sons of Machir, the son of Manasseh, went to Gilead and took it, and dispossessed the Amorites who were in it. So Moses gave Gilead to Machir, the son of Manasseh, and he lived in it. Jair, the son of Manasseh, went and took its towns and called them Havoth Jair. Noba went and took Kenath and its villages and called it Noba after his own name. Good job, Noba. And that was the reading of Numbers 30, 31, and 32. God bless you and remain highly favored.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Fear into Faith Global Bible Revival, where we're on a mission to get 1 million people to read the Word of God cover to cover in a year. I'm your host, Summer Day, and with me in the studio is Bumie Asuquo.
You got it.
Asuquo, yay! That was one of the challenging names.
Yes.
All right, I got it.
It's such a pleasure to be here.
I'm excited to have you and all of your fabulousness. We got to talk about this gorgeous jacket.
Thank you.
It's stunning.
Oh, thank you. You absolutely fabulous. The earrings, the look, everything.
Thank you. I received that.
Radiance.
Beautiful woman. You just finished reading the Word.
Yes.
Just finished recording your segments.
Yes.
How was that for you?
It was amazing. It's interesting that I got some of the scriptures that I actually love. And one of them I had read 2 nights ago. Just talking about, the rules and the regulations, the law that was presented to the children of Israel from Moses in the book of Numbers, and of course, the Valley of Dry Bones. I was like, wow, thank you, Jesus. Powerful. I loved it.
You felt like it was a little love note because he was giving you those.
Yes, yes. I think it was a love note and just a reminder because it's easy to forget, you know. And so just reading those scriptures out loud to my hearing versus just reading it in my mind, it's just a different experience. I loved it.
Have you ever done anything like this before?
No, I haven't. This is my first time.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you said yes. What made you say yes to this project?
Well, when I first had my encounter with Jesus, he told me to start reading the Bible from Genesis. Wow. And reading from Genesis, and I remember just getting to Exodus and feeling like, man, these people are so rebellious. Like, what is wrong with these people?
Yeah, you want to get in there and smack them?
Exactly. And God was like, well, that's you.
Oh.
You know, and I was like, oh, he's like, yes, every time I tell you, you know, go in my way, follow my precepts, just accept my love for you.
Yeah.
You find it so difficult. And so this helps you to know why I had to come and redeem man. And so that's why this project was so important. When I read from you guys, I was like, yes, I needed to do this. I love it.
So good.
Yes.
So good. Well, let's just talk a little bit about you. Where are you from?
I am from Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, to be precise, the western part.
What is it about Africa? Now that I've been to Kenya, I just love it. I love the culture and the music over there. I love the level of passion that they have for Jesus.
Yes.
Just hold on. Just really quick, if you're watching and you're America, your passion for Jesus is like asleep. You need to go to Africa and watch how they worship for like 4 hours and their
Yes.
hips never stop moving.
Yeah.
And then just all the fire of God over there. It's like nothing I've ever seen.
Yes, yes. I think that it's because we've had to live for so long with a government that doesn't work. And, you know, in America, the level of comfort and the level of just ease that we experience, even when you go to the rural areas, cannot be compared to Africa. And so for us, we just know that if God doesn't help us, then no one will. The system will not help you. Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, none of that. And so everything we do comes from just that knowing that without God, I'm finished. And just imagine living like that. Yeah. You want to give him your best. You praise him like with reckless abandonment. You just give him everything.
That's the other thing is being in a church in Kenya. So we've traveled the country. We've been to 31 states. I've seen a lot of different churches, a lot of different denominations, all the things.
Yes.
I've never seen a church. Well, that's not true till I came here to Mercy Culture. But usually the churches in America, not everyone is standing. Only a handful of people are standing. Most are not standing. And there's a lot of churches where no one stands. And in my experience in Kenya, it was like if you were sitting down, it would be weird because everybody is standing and moving with their whole body. No one is still for the Lord.
Yes. And I think it's also because we understand kingship. So back home, we have kings of communities, kings of towns and cities. And when the king is sitting, no one should be sitting until the king has sat down. So I think just having that understanding relatively versus sort of having a president alone helps to understand it. When we see God as king, we want to reverence him standing up. So maybe it's about culture. And
I
so
love
much
it. I love the culture. I'm like, let's get that culture infused in this culture.
Yes, yes. But I love the culture of America as well. Just the openness. Yes, you guys are ready to communicate. Africans, we will watch you. Like, are you sure? Before we talk.
That's true. That's true. I saw a little bit of that. Now, in Nigeria, were you raised in the church?
Yes, I was. My mom is a pastor. My dad was a deacon as well. And so I grew up going to church from just being a child. That was our lives.
So firing for Jesus from the start.
Yes. And thank God for my parents, because I always wanted to sing, of course. I'm a worship leader.
You're a worship leader?
Yes, I
You're
am.
a singer?
Yes.
You know you're going to have to sing for us before we're done
Oh,
with this
no.
interview. It could be an hour and 5 minutes, but we're going to have to hear you sing.
Yes.
Come on.
So I started off singing before pastoring, and it's still my heartbeat. So I tell everyone everywhere I go, I'm a worship leader. Always be a worship leader.
Yeah.
But my mom facilitated that experience and that passion, because she will let me go. My dad will let me go. And I grew up just having supportive parents. When it comes to the things of God, I'd be in rehearsals all day, practices, meetings, and they'll just say, go. And I that's how the fire got ignited and continues to burn.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. So you're also a pastor?
Yes, I am.
Worship leader at First at Heart.
Yes.
And then also a pastor.
Yes.
How long have you been a pastor?
About 6 years. I pastor alongside my husband. Wow. Right here in Carrollton, Texas.
I love it.
Glory Cathedral Assembly.
How long have you been married?
7 years in April, so 6 years. So as long as we've been married, we've been pastoring.
I love it.
Yes.
Together.
Yes, ma'am.
That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
So beautiful. Did you ever have a time at all when you fell away from the Lord, or just solid the whole time?
Yes. As a teenager, just trying to find my personal sense of identity.
Yeah.
Feeling like I'm going to miss out on something. You know how you're young and you feel like, if I don't have fun now, will I ever have fun? Or I'll serve God when I'm older.
Yeah.
And that was what happened to me. So I wanted to experience things, even though I didn't have a desire for them. I just wanted to know that I'd done them. That way I could look back and say, well, checklist, I did this, I did that.
Check the
And
box.
Exactly. And so that was my time of falling off and just looking for identity in the wrong places, even though God had already told me that I love you and you're mine and I'll never leave you. I just felt like, well, what if there's something else out there?
Wow.
And I thank God because he reached back out for me, and it's the most beautiful experience. I just want to talk about it all day. I don't know if I have all the time, but
You do. It's all about you, baby.
oh, come on. So I remember just when I was 16, going through a really tough time, and hearing the song, "This Is the Air I Breathe."
Yeah.
Ooh, I had goosebumps. I felt the presence of God in my room, and I just felt God saying to me, I am your life. Give me everything. Give me all of you. No space, no room, no reservation. You're not going to miss out on anything. I am your being. I'm your entirety.
Okay, I'm going to pause you right there. We're going to find out what happened. Right after this commercial break, we'll be right back. And we will hear the rest. We are back with Bumie,
Yes.
my new friend. And you were sharing about how you were 16 years old.
Yes.
And you encountered God and he with that song and all those things. Take us back to there.
Now, why that moment was so important was because I was 16 and pregnant, and I was considering taking my own life because it was a very shameful thing in our community. And I said, well, if anyone finds out, my mom would become, the laughing stock of the city.
Oh, wow.
And
Because
so I wanted
you were a pastor's child and
because
you
I was a
weren't
pastor's child. And I wasn't married. And the culture as well, you're supposed to be married, And so I was in a really, really terrible.
You can check out the rest of this interview right here or by going to BibleRevival.tv. And if this show has blessed you, you can help us bless others by partnering with us for as little as $20 a month and help us to expand the reach of this show. We'd also like to invite you to join our Kingdom Discipleship Program, where you have an opportunity to get on weekly Bible Zoom calls with us and people around the world to deep dive into His Word. And you can check all that out at BibleRevival.tv. I'll see you next time, my friend.